Hello everybody. It was requested that somebody make a video of how to put together a saber from the Saber Forge ASP Kickstarter, so I thought I'd just make one really quick. So basically what you see here is the basic components that goes into a saber. Here's my emitter right here, here's the pommel, the switch section, and the main body section. Here's the LED and the rest of the electronics that come with it. Hopefully I'm getting everything in the camera there. I also have this extra set of electronics right here, and this goes to a different saber, so I'll be showing a couple parts from that in a minute. So this is basically what the parts look like when the electronics when they come in the bag. The hilt is already put together. The battery is not in here when it comes. I put the battery in there already. And then the LED comes separate. There's also a switch that comes separate. I've already attached it inside here, as you can see. I've put it in and I've glued it, and I will explain why in a minute. Just to kind of show you what the switch looks like by itself from this other bag. This is what the switch looks like out of the bag. As you can see, it has this little connector here that's at a 90-degree angle and some kind of a putty holding it on there. So to get this into the switch section, essentially, both of these are empty when you first get it, and you just pick which one you want, kind of force it in there. This glue on the end sometimes can make it hard to push through the hole there, so you just got to apply enough pressure to push it down in there. Obviously take off this first before you shove it in there. Now the reason I glued my switch in is because, as you can see, the nut does not completely screw all the way up against the side of the switch section. The reason for that is because of the curvature here, and so the nut can't get completely all the way up to the edge there, and so it's really hard to get it tight. It'll sit there and shake around a little bit. So what I used is E6000 glue, and I just put a little bit in there to hold it, so now this won't move at all. This little fake switch right here also comes with the set, and it's also not attached, and so I used E6000 to attach that as well. E6000 is great because it is permanent glue, but if you need to change your mind later or do some changing on it, you can force it off. It's kind of tacky when it's fully finished drying, so I love that glue for this kind of thing. Alright, so how to put this together. So if you've read the Kickstarter comments, I've already mentioned how I actually broke my LED the first time I was putting this together, because I was trying to get everything lined up with the little shims that they include. As you can see, I have 3 on one side here and 2 on the other to get things mostly lined up. I'll have to do some sanding later. But anyway, I had attached all the electronics together, started screwing, and basically the wire snapped on me somewhere in there. You couldn't see it, but it just stopped working, and looking at it closer I could see where it snapped in there. So I resoldered it, and it's all working great now, but just be careful with that. The wires that come with it are not the greatest wires. Are kind of flimsy. They also only have 1 strand of copper in there, so if it breaks, that's it, and you got to replace them. Anyway, so how you wire this up. The longer wire is the red and the black one, and it goes to the LED because it goes up at the far end of your hilt. The shorter wire here, the blue one, goes into the switch, and these connectors are great. You just push them in and there's enough friction there to hold them. And just to show you that it works, push the switch here. Nice bright LED. Now to get it in the hilt, I will show you how to do it to not put stress on the wires like I did, so you can avoid breaking it. What I like to do is first I drop down the battery and the circuit board into the bottom here, and I like to go this way just because it's fun to push through, I'll admit. And so I just have this coming here with the wires hanging out the top, and then the battery just kind of hanging out the bottom right there. Then move the switch back there. Alright, so here's my switch section, and what I like to do next is put the LED into here, so you have the connector hanging out here, and then you go ahead and connect these. So the red one goes to the LED I just put through there, and the blue one goes up to the switch right there. Alright, so everything is now connected, and now we just need to screw this together. So the reason I like to have the battery and the circuit board hanging out the bottom, as you can see right there, is so that when I put the switch section on here and start twisting, because the hilt is just hanging out the bottom there, you can see I can twist this, or because the battery is hanging out the bottom, I can twist the hilt on, and you can see that the battery is not causing the wire to be twisted because it's not stuck inside the hilt. It's just sitting there, and you just twist around it. And so you put no stress on the wires, and it won't break anything. And for the top, it's pretty similar. In the emitter, there are two retention screws. There's one here for the blade, and then there's one here for the LED module. At least I'm assuming that's what it's for. I don't see any other reason for it there. So this needs to be screwed into the LED to hold it in place after you attach this. Now the first time I put it together, I put in the LED, screwed that in place, and then screwed this on, put a lot of stress on the wires and twisted them up, and that's what broke my LED. So I don't do that anymore. So stick the LED in there. Another thing I like to do, just to get the spacing right, is I have my blade plug and I set it in here. And then I put in the LED module to make sure it's pushed up as far as it will go with the blade plug. And then this one I actually screw on with the blade plug in there just to make sure I get it as tight as I can. So just put that together, screw it here, and the LED is twisting inside the emitter here, so the wires are not getting all twisted up. And once you have that twisted together, grab your Allen wrench that should be included, and then you just tighten up the LED. And then pull out my blade plug, and then here at the bottom, I just kind of push that in there, get the pommel, and then just twist that on there to finish the hilt. Now if I've done everything correctly, this should work. And there you go. And that is how to put together an ASP Saber from Saber Forge.